Let's see if Instagram works. Let's find out. Probably not.
Where to Hunt podcast. It's okay.
Hi, I'm Dan Small, host of Outdoor Wisconsin, and I listen to Where to Hunt.
Nah, it's okay.
I'm Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bow Hunter. I listen to Where to Hunt podcast, and it's decent.
It's all right.
Hey, this is Bud Fisher with Catching Deers, and I think the Where to Hunt podcast is all right.
And we're back. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Where to Hunt podcast. Today is May 26th, almost June. I'm Eric.
Greg here in studio.
Yeah, we're back at it. This is the podcast that connects public land hunting enthusiasts, aka the okayest podcast in the Midwest. We own that title.
That's something to be said.
Yeah, you will be underwhelmed. We hope you enjoy whatever shit show is about to come out of our mouths.
So it's better to under-promise and over-deliver is what you're saying?
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Are you saying it correctly?
Under-promise and over-deliver.
Except we'll probably...
Set the bar low
yeah.
and hurdle that mother.
No, but what's going to happen is we're going to over-promise and under-deliver.
Okay, whatever.
We're just going to under-deliver. We ain't promising anything. Oh, man. So we are sucking back some Drop Tine Spirits, finally, together. The double bourbon.
It's tasty.
Yeah, it's smooth, right?
Yeah, it's really
I've been
smooth.
talking about it. You're finally able to try it.
Finally able to try it when you only got like 2 sips of the
I
bottle
said I'd
left.
save you some.
You did save me some. I appreciate that.
You a little bit.
Just
You
a little
can
bit.
polish her off tonight, probably.
All right.
Yeah, it's no scotch, but it is good. I do
like
a good bourbon, so
Good stuff.
it is a good bourbon. All right, our quick sponsor call-outs. We're only going to do the 2 because we have a really fun commercial now for Backwoods.
Wow.
If you haven't heard that, it's
I did hear that.
yeah, you slack ass. Or what does he call it? What do we call it?
Slack asses.
Yeah. Loafing around.
Loafing around,
Yeah.
slack asses.
Yeah, but otherwise, Gumleaf USA, Gumleaf boots. My wife's aunt, actually, or cousin, I don't know, out in Seattle bought a pair, and she just wrote back. She goes, "Oh my God, these boots are incredible." They use it for walking the beach out there for finding stuff and going on little adventures, and they do a lot of hiking and such. So definitely not a hunter, but someone that's actually purchased the boots.
Amen.
I heard about them from the show, and they love them.
They're comfortable.
They're 85% natural rubber, and they have a Vibram sole, and they're handmade.
In England.
In England. Europe, England,
It's all part of it.
Italy, I don't know. Anyway, if you want to get some discounts on that, actually, specifically, it's a discount on that. Entering code W2H2020, and you're going to get 10% off of your purchase.
Every little bit helps.
It sure damn does. Vector Custom Shop. You've been rocking this one. Do you have it up here?
I'll do my best.
All right.
Vector Custom Shop. So if you're into custom built arrows to your spec, head over to vectorcustomshop.com. You can get them built to your spec, weighted up front with the Ethics archery system, the insert-outsert system. You can get them weighted from 45 grains all the way up to 175 grains, and a multitude of different spines. And you can pretty much get them built with a couple different choices of vanes. What else am I missing?
Custom built to your specs. The spine is what
the
they
spine.
they make the smallest diameter, right?
They are.
Or
They
they're
are
one of two,
They're
maybe.
4 millimeter micro diameters arrow. So, I guess if you're interested in checking them out, go to vectorcustomshop.com, and if you decide to order some up, you can enter code WHERE2HUNT, and that'll save you 10%.
That's where with the number 2 hunt. My dad got his. He ordered some. He got the 2-pack, the trial pack, right?
Yep.
And
that's the part I screwed up on. So you can get the trial pack.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you can get the test pack of 2
Test
arrows.
pack, yeah.
You can get a half dozen or a dozen.
It's pretty cool. And so if you get 2, then you can kind of dial yourself in, and then,
you can find out what you like. You can get a 350 or a 300 spine and a 250 or whatever. You can get a couple different ones, or you can get 2 of the same. So if you throw one at a brick wall like I did.
Yeah, that did a lot of damage to your broadhead. Did it mess up your arrow too?
The arrow shaft itself is perfectly fine.
Oh.
The outsert took a beating along with the broadhead, and the knock is no longer. Yeah, it's gone.
All right.
So, but the arrow shaft itself definitely held up to it.
Knock on, my friend.
Knock on.
Long live your broadhead. So we had a guest lined up today, but they're dealing with some flash flood stuff and couldn't make it tonight. So we'll get them rescheduled. Our good friends over at the Whitetail Legacy podcast. I was on their show 2 months ago. I don't know. Time's been just not a thing.
You've been COVID crushing it on all different podcasts, it sounds like.
Like a little podcast whore.
Got to stick with what you're good at, I guess.
Talking bullshit. So yeah, it's just Greg and I tonight. That's why he decided to show up and throw some bourbon back with me. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Greg's turkey season recap. And if any of you guys and gals listening want to call in, the phone line's open. We'll take calls. Share with us how that went for you. We had a couple friends that did the Grand Slam. Johnny Utah executed just like he said he would. And then we're going to switch gears, talk about having the summer off, what you're going to do on your punch list or your honey-do list probably.
Yeah.
And then we can pivot into trail cam stuff. I did tell the guys over at Ethics that we're going to be talking about that. So if they call in, that'd be pretty neat.
Ethics?
Mm-hmm. My bad. Exodus.
Brutal.
The E got me goofed up. Thanks for the catch. That's why you're here.
We're talking arrows.
I'm just like, didn't even realize it.
Whatever works.
So anyway, yeah, they may or may not call in Jake and Chad over there. But yeah, let's get into it, Greg. You got a turkey.
I did. My first season didn't go as well. Had one close opportunity. Decided to bring the camera out and try to film my hunt. Should be pretty easy with a shotgun. Decided not to go with a bow. Set up in a brush pile, and of course, the birds, plural, came from my far right side where my camera was sitting. So trying to swing my gun around the camera through the brush to point at that bird and shoot him, it wasn't happening.
It didn't work so well.
No, did not. And then plus, I knew there were some hunters hunting over in that area because it's right on the border of public and another piece of private. And I just didn't feel right about taking that shot because I didn't know where those guys were. So I'm glad I didn't take the shot anyway. Waited a few more days and kind of was chasing another group of birds on another end of the land. And lo and behold, those birds weren't there. So then I went back the next morning, and then they were there, and they were a lot closer than I expected they would be.
Is that your third attempt?
That would have been my, opening day. That would have been my fourth attempt. We get 7 days, so.
You hit it hard.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's good that you didn't, risk if you knew other guys and gals were over there hunting. I used to read off incident reports on the DNR's website.
Yeah.
Most of them were turkey hunters shooting at the turkey hunters because they thought they were a turkey.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a 3-inch Magnum 12-gauge turkey load, there's pretty good energy there where you could hurt somebody out to 60 yards, I would say, with a number 4 or a number 5 turkey load.
That would suck.
Yeah.
And you'd imagine how you'd feel if you were the guy that pulled the trigger on that.
I'd be done.
Oh.
Be done hunting.
And you'd be done if you're the guy on the other end of that probably too. That's the horror story people stay away from.
You lose eyesight. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that could happen.
Hunters like you that take a second to consider that stuff, it's important.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was taught. And aside from my dad telling me not to shoot if you don't think it's right, that's what we learned in hunter safety too. So try to keep that stick with you. So
Yep.
yeah, so that was Saturday, and then I had a handful of days left to hunt. I didn't go Sunday because I took a break from it. I figured I overpressured those birds, and they needed a break, and I just needed a break and had other things to do. So came back Monday morning and didn't see anything, or I roosted birds. I roosted some birds, and they actually saw me walk in because I walked in too late. I pulled an okayest hunter and walked in just as it was cracking daylight, and I looked across the field, and I could see them roosting in the tree, and I thought, well, maybe I can sneak in there. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Damn.
They saw me and flew the other direction. They flew off the roost.
So
a
did
little
you
bit.
sit it out anyways, or at that point you're like, there's no chance? Or coming
Well,
back,
no,
or
I
you think
sat it
they're-
out. I did sit it out anyways, and it wasn't worth the sit. And
Damn.
There weren't any more birds gobbling either, so it was kind of tough. And the area they roost in, it is public, but you're looking at 1 foot to 2 feet of water depending on where you're at. So, I mean, I did sit in there a couple times, gave it a try, but it was in the evening and didn't see any birds. So they didn't come back till dark, and I bailed out of there before dark. So
By the way, Byron with the whitetail experience. Well, I assume it's Byron. It just says whitetail experience, but they say howdy and way to go
howdy.
on the turkey.
Thanks, boys.
They said also tennis shoes are the new trend. We're gonna get to that.
That was season number 2 for me. So yeah, I had a week off, and then it was my next season, and hunted hard. Opening morning went out, had birds gobbling, but didn't see anything close enough. Had a couple of hens. And the next day it was sunny, nicer out, and I got close and had a gobbler within 80 yards and 2 hens right in my decoys. They were clucking and purring and yelping and making all the hen noises. So it's kind of cool to be able to sit there and hear those birds mimic, make their own noises, and then you can learn how to mimic those with your call.
So you kind of being a good listener at that point, kind of hearing what the
Yeah.
conversation's all about that
Yep.
they're having, and then you're like, okay, I can kind of pick
Yeah.
up on that. Can you do turkey calls without diaphragm?
A little bit.
I've heard you do one before once, and I thought it was our guest. Was that on the episode with Steph?
Might have been.
And you're like,
No, that wasn't quite like that.
how did it go? Did they do that? What's that?
That's more of a cluck. Yeah, or a putt. That's more of a warning sound, I guess. But I don't quite have the right noise for a cluck, but it's more of just a quick cluck.
Oh, sure, I can see it. Assholes.
And a yelp is the multiple tones, and in a purr, it's more of a sound of content, and it's usually when they're scratching around, looking for grit and picking grass that they're
Scratching,
clawing and
pecking.
and doing their thing. Then they purr a little bit, but not very. It's not real loud.
Is a group of turkeys called raptors? Have you heard this before?
No, raptors are birds of prey.
That's true, but I've heard that a group of turkeys
A flock.
called raptors.
Maybe.
I don't know, like dinosaurs.
Okay.
I'm just here to take us off topic.
Yeah,
That's
are.
my job
You're
tonight.
right down a rabbit hole.
I mean, they're fucking dinosaurs.
They are dinosaurs.
Do you ever see them run? They look like a velociraptor.
Oh, believe me, I got to watch
Yes,
a few of them
I'm sure you've
run in fear.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just read some comments so people can participate here as we go along with the story. But Jose said he struggled to kill a bird with his bow, but ended up killing one with his gun. 4th season here in Iowa. Nice
Sweet.
work, Jose.
Good job.
Thanks for listening. All right. So, where were you?
Where was I?
That's your job.
Yeah, so I had to let that bird pass at 80 yards. It was kind of a bummer. I couldn't get him to come close enough. I had 2 of his hens, 2 out of the 4 right in the decoys, and then they got bored and kind of pulled off and crossed the ditch. And I was hiding down in the ditch. And then I was just watching down the end of the field, and the 2 hens were pulling that gobbler closer, but he never got in there. And I was going to try and go down the ditch, but it's so mushy. I usually sink hip deep in some of those spots along that ditch, and it's so full of cane it's, it's like walking on matchsticks. It just crunches and it makes a lot of noise, and there's just no way I could get down there without getting busted. So I elected to wait it out, and it didn't pay off. Either way, I'd have been, it was on me.
Mm-hmm.
They had the upper hand.
Bastards.
Wide open field.
Trevor, real quick, says hello to you. Sorry, I'm seeing all
Sup,
this.
Trev?
Sup, Trev.
So next day, I decided to move in closer, and it also decided to rain the next day. So I had moved in, closed the distance, got in there in the dark, and birds were not on the roost. Well, they weren't in that one roost anyway, but they were further in. And we had thunder. The bird would gobble every time it thundered. So, and we had a little bit of lightning.
Is that why they call them thunder chickens?
That's why they call them.
I mean,
thunder
like that is
chickens.
it, right? Freaking there.
Oh yeah. And even like the first day of my first season, we had thunder and lightning cracking, and the birds were gobbling everywhere.
There's that drinking game to the AC/DC song Thunderstruck. Do you ever play that?
No.
You have a group of people and you go in a circle, and every time they say, I think it's Thunderstruck, you drink and you keep drinking until the next time they say it, the next person goes. And one person gets the shaft, like once or twice in that song where there's just a long pause. You should have been playing Thunderstruck by AC/DC that day.
No. But I wasn't.
Can you hear it in your head right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I did my job again.
Yeah, you did. Right down another rabbit hole.
Everyone's got to hate me.
That's all right.
You host this show, you piece of shit.
No, come on now.
All right.
So, yeah, I had that bird gobbling, and then he shut up. He got quiet. And no matter what call tone I would do, they get call smart after a while.
Mm-hmm.
They know what a call is, or they know something doesn't look right about the area, and they hear a call from over there. Something's up, and they won't come over. So I just elected to stop calling, and the bird would gobble. And then I could hear him gobbling and coming closer, and then all of a sudden the cane across the ditch from me exploded, and here there was 2 deer. They were like 8 feet from me. They came right in, and I just stood still, and 2 does, and they kept looking over at me and doing the old head weave, trying to get me to move. And they were probably there for 2 or 3 minutes. Well, that gobbler had scared them out of their beds. So they had jumped across the ditch, and they were feeding on grass kind of nervously, and then they decided they bailed. So when they bailed, I figured, well, I'm going to try and make a move, because that gobbler eventually turned around and started gobbling and walking down the path the other direction. So I was able to get within about 100 yards of him, and when I popped up, he was looking my direction. The game was over. So didn't do no good. So that was the end of the first season. And
Close the chapter on that one.
yeah.
And look to the next one. So did you have the second season ready to go? Or
No,
did you
like I said, it was a week. Actually, that happened the beginning of my second season. The first season was first day of rain, and then the rest of it was fairly nice. And then the second season started off with one nice day and then a crappy day. Then I had to go into work and do some projects. And I made it out for that Monday. I think it was a Monday. We had all that rain. I looked right at my boots. Right when I left in the morning.
Mental check, got my boots.
Yeah, mental check. Boots are right there by the door. Don't forget them. Okay. Wife's getting up, getting ready to go to work. I say goodbye. What do? Walk right past my boots. Jump in the truck. Get down the road, turn down the lane to go down the tractor path, and it's like a light bulb went on, a red light bulb. Hey, dummy, you forgot your boots. Hey, you know what? It's also raining out. You probably should have brought your raincoat. Well, no galoshes, no raincoat. We're going in. Tennis shoes and a sweater.
You made it worth it.
I made it work. Crawled in the brush pile. Had a few hens come right in right away. Then it was quiet. Then I started shivering because it was cold and the wind was blowing and raining sideways. I got up and walked around the backside of the tree that I was back up against just to get out of the wind and warm up. And then I could see those hens playing further down the ditch. and all of a sudden they got nervous and bolted. I don't know if they saw me or what was going on. And all of a sudden they look and there's a gobbler 15 yards away from me right on the edge of the tree line that I'm hiding in. So I knelt down and waited for him to get past this big cherry tree in between the cherry tree and a mulberry, and squeezed one off as soon as he got in there, and he was done. So that was the end of it.
You made good work of it too. It looked like.
Yeah.
Did you have any of that turkey?
Not yet.
But you got them
No,
prepped.
I have him prepped and planned for certain things. So
If you want to toss one that smoker of mine, you let me know.
okay.
Could make it an all-day affair in like a weekend or something.
I parted it up, so I got the thighs and drumsticks all together, cleaned them up real nice, and I think I'm going to actually make stock with those, and then whatever meat I get out of it, I'm actually probably going to chunk up and make chili with it.
Turkey chili.
Turkey chili.
Do you have like any other recipes that you do with that? I mean, is it pretty gamey? I've heard wild turkey is pretty gamey. So how do you...
well, it's so lean. That's the thing. Wild turkey is real lean. There's not a lot of
it's a
fat.
dry meat traditionally anyway.
Yeah,
so
grilling it, not advised. I mean, you can brine it and try and slow cook it, but it's still going to be pretty dry. Deep frying, it's probably one of the better ways if you want to do a whole turkey. But otherwise, taking the parts, you can make stock out of the legs and the neck meat and save that for turkey soup or turkey gravy or whatever.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and then the meat, you can either leave in there and enjoy it with the gravy, or you can cut it up and make chili with it. So my wife makes a pretty killer porter chili, and I'm looking forward to that.
Like a porter beer?
Oh yeah,
Like
you could use a crawfish.
Hubbleton?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hubbleton crawfish porter.
You got to eat the gravy.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
Drink the gravy.
Oh boy,
Inside
joke.
baseball.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not really. If you've seen Tropic Thunder,
Yeah.
you know what we're talking about.
Oh God.
If you haven't, no, it's a classic, a modern classic. That's it. That's all she wrote for the drop
it is.
time. At least for that bottle. We got another bottle up there. I'm just not going to crack it.
No, we
That
gotta
one's on
save
display.
That.
Yeah.
Save that for a special occasion.
Yeah, if we can make it to November, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to make it to November.
You better make it to November. So with that, I think we move into the next thing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, man.
Our summer punch list.
I have not one. I have things that I know I need to do that I should do.
Okay, what do you think you need to do?
I need to get my bow not tuned up, but I need to get dialed in with the vector arrows that I got and make sure I got to paper tune it.
Okay,
I have
so
to
that's
paper
going to
tune
be that's going to be a tuning of the bow.
Yeah, and our friend Jeff mentioned he's got quite the setup for that. That's stationary now. It's not like, so we could certainly go over there and let some fly two at a time because I only got two, and then once I get figured out, get the rest of the pack.
Yeah, that's something we got to get rolling on pretty hard here.
Yeah, I'm excited about it though. Like I feel good at 15 yards right now.
Right,
but that's not. I need to make sure I'm doing good up to 40. I think I won't take anything beyond 35.
30, 35 might even be stretching it because a deer can react, and I don't care. Guys will say that they can beat that reaction time, but I find it hard to believe.
I mean, the guys from Vector, Mike and Isaac, said when they were here that you can't shoot faster than the speed of sound.
No.
I don't care how fast your bow is.
Right. So get proficient out to 40, get comfortable to 40.
Correct, and then work back in from there.
But keep in mind that you're probably not going to want to take anything more than maybe 30, 35.
Yeah. I'm excited to paper tune though. I've seen a lot of folks doing it. I initially didn't really understand the concept until I realized like if your arrow's flying anywhere on like an angle, if you think I can't illustrate this audibly, but if you throw a spear, you're going to see that thing kind of fishtail in the air, right? And that's what might be happening with your arrow at a very minuscule scale. But at that minuscule scale, the trajectory from the time it leaves your bow towards landing at 30, 40 yards is dramatic. And then you're not getting that centrifugal. I forget the specific type of force. It's not centrifugal because that's in a circular motion, but
it's inertia.
The inertia coming behind that the punch isn't there.
No.
It's off center to be like snapping the arrow.
Yeah.
But not really. So with paper, you're seeing how that's coming through, and
Right.
so the smaller the pinhole, the straighter that arrow is flying.
Yeah. Well, if it's a pinhole, that's good. If it's a nunchuck hole, then it's not good.
And our friend over at the Ranch Ferry, Troy, had said, like, if you can get that part down, that is the most critical part. That
Right.
thing's got to fly straight before you start building on anything else. So I want to lay that foundation because I'm not even sure
Right.
what that looks like. That
And
being
that's-
said, people can kill freaking deer with arrows off the shelf all day long too.
Yeah, and
But
we've done it.
I just need more confidence in
Yeah.
that.
We've done it, but if you want full confidence in everything that you have in your quiver, that's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard from so many people, my dad included, and I know he listens, that, man, now that I know this information, if I think back, how many more deer could I have gotten
Right.
that it could have punched through something, tricky like a rib?
Well, and
or
I've had deer I
whatever,
missed
shoulder.
too, and reason being, that arrow didn't fly where it was supposed to. Now it could have been my crappy shooting, but it could also have been the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And
But you want to make sure that it's only your crappy shooting that could be
right.
Then you have, I
100%.
fully rely on this equipment to do its job. I'm the variable.
Yep.
And then I'll know if I goof. When you goof a shot. The
Oh, yeah.
second you pull the trigger,
Yeah, you know when you
just
pull
know.
it.
Yep.
You dropped the bow too soon.
Mm-hmm.
You pulled it to the left, pulled it to the right.
You smacked your wrist one too many times,
Oh,
so you're
yeah.
flinching it
You're
a little
flinching
bit.
bad.
Yep.
Oh, I've seen that.
That's one thing, the fundamentals, right? Draw back, get your anchor point set, make sure you're consistent with that. And then I always rotate the forearm out a little
Yeah.
bit.
And what you need to get in the habit of is when you're coming to full draw, do your rotation right there. So when you're
already set.
done. You're set.
See,
you're
I
not
don't,
farting
yeah.
around trying to tweak your grip, because that's what's screwing you.
Yeah.
Is you're tweaking your grip, and the pressure on the riser is changing. So then you're canting the bow, riser left or right, and
Is that what that level's for on my
that's
on my
So
sight
if
pin?
you can try to, one thing you can do is practice drawing with your eyes closed and go where it feels right, and then open your eyes and look and see where you're at, and just keep practicing that way.
I haven't done that.
Open your eyes and look to see where you're at, and eventually you're gonna kind of get your body to learn. Don't worry about releasing an arrow.
Sure.
Just worry about executing your anchor,
Mm-hmm.
and then you worry about executing your shot. and
Because what
arrow
you're shooting for
placement.
is consistency here.
Right.
Yeah, you want to make sure that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about marksmanship, with a rifle,
It's the same
I'm golden,
concept.
but you, bottom of that breath, you're squeezing that trigger, and you're doing that because at the bottom of the breath, everything's falling into place where it should be.
Yep.
Forcing or jamming or
Right.
putting. You can get lucky every now and again, and you'll nail a bullseye once in a blue moon if you do that. But can you consistently do that? Is the real trick. And obviously, you want to be able to be consistent and have confidence in your shot when you're shooting a bow.
Correct.
You can talk about these mechanics all day long.
And now you got to
do
go
have
out
to
and
practice
practice and
them.
execute them. That's exactly it.
Michael Krushner, butchering your last name per usual. Evening to you, sir.
How you doing, Michael?
And Libby, hello.
Little birds on.
That's right. And Tanzan, what's up? Bunch of new newcomers to the live broadcast. Hey guys, the phone lines are open. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh boy.
So if
No pranking. We'll,
you know what happens for those pranksters out there.
we'll shut the door on you real fast.
Yep. We'll do some weird stuff with your phone number too. Wipe my ass with it, basically. No shame.
No shame. So what else is on your punch list?
I mean, that's the big one. I think I was gonna.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to find that time away from the family because I'm doing this.
Right.
You know, I'm constantly like bargaining. Hey, can I go do this thing? But that's on me to get up early or do whatever I need to do to make that happen. So it gets important. It's important right now. I want to get that stuff down as much as I can.
I'll be a big thorn in your side until you get it figured out. How's that sound?
Other than that, though, man, like I think squaring away some of my other gear, silencing what I got would be beneficial. I learned last year that some of my gear is pretty loud and antiquated, and you had lent me a stand to use, and I enjoyed how easy that was to set up. I might invest in a saddle. I enjoyed hunting out of a saddle last year with Anthony Heller with Deer Vein. That was a really freaking awesome experience, and I don't mean to get on the whole saddle hunting whatever.
But it's a tool. It's
There's
a nice
ton of
tool that,
benefit.
let's face it, some places it's really difficult to get a stand in. I can see where walking in with literally your stand, meaning the saddle, is right on you already, getting up a tree, you don't have anything clinking, clanking, or trying to drag through
It's
the
lightweight,
cattails.
no
It doesn't
clinking,
weigh
clanking.
anything. Yeah.
It's a little easier to get up in. Like, there's a bunch of benefits. So I was looking at some saddles for the Patreon giveaway,
Sure.
and I stumbled on the tethered Mantis.
Yep.
I think is a new one.
Yep.
No, there's a Mantis
the
and there's
Phantom.
the Phantom. Okay.
The Phantom.
So I've heard really good things about the Phantom from some people because
Yep.
once I posted that, then everyone's like, "Oh, the Phantom," and I was like, "Okay, well, shit, maybe I'll get that one for everybody, for the winter." And then I'm like, "Well, I should probably get one for myself."
Yeah.
But the Mantis is cheaper because it's
Well, it's
second
it's
gen,
the
right?
it's one of the original pieces that they came out with.
Yep.
When the craze really.
So
hit.
we'll see, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out no matter what I do. But if I get that, then I don't got to silence shit
Right.
because the stealth
Right.
will be baked into that purchase.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I mean, this is kind of the off season. If you're gonna stick with a stand, one, this is a good time to maybe try and pick one up used.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm probably gonna sell a couple of mine. I might sell them.
Even exchange. I might sell some of my ice fishing gear or some deer gear. I haven't ice fished. I just haven't done it. My shanty broke on me. Like, it got all kitty wampus. I don't want to talk about it.
You
It's
disappoint
depressing.
me.
I built that collection for free. I built that with Christmas gift cards over like 5 years.
But it cost you something.
Yeah. I don't know. But like, I deer hunt. I more than ice fish. But the goal is to take the kids. Anyway, that's
Either
just
way,
a thought. It's
rabbit
just a
hole.
thought.
Another rabbit hole.
I'm just thinking, like, well, that's one of the goals, right? You got to afford the shit somehow.
Right? Yeah. You got to scalp it somewhere.
Podcast doesn't make us much money.
No, it doesn't make us any money.
Gets us drunk.
Gets you drunk.
Well, only sometimes.
Right here. So
What about you?
Well, maintenance on stands is where I was going to go.
All right.
So any bent bolts are going to end up being broken bolts. So now is the time, like you go to Lone Wolf or XOP, now is the time to go get the replacement cables, replacement bolts, all the hardware kits.
Stealth tape, like, is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, or whatever.
Whatever.
tape.
There's all sorts of shit out there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different silencing stuff that you can use.
We're not endorsed here for that.
Yeah,
stuff.
no. So, but now is the time to get those parts and pieces ordered before you decide, well, it's middle of September. I should probably get this stand put together because I know last year it had this creak and it doesn't sound good. So you're going to go to the website of the manufacturer that built whatever stand you got.
They have a
and go,
lead time, especially with the supply chain disruption, right?
crap, they don't have any. They've sold out. They're not expecting any until December. Now what? Well, now you're going to Ace Hardware and trying to match bolts and
You've done this before.
it's been done. I've done my share of modifying of things too, but it leaves you in a mad scramble to go take care of all this stuff. If you took a day off from fishing and said, you know what, I should probably go look for hardware or get this stuff ordered, you should do that. And then go through your safety equipment, your safety harness, check that out, make sure you don't have nicks and cuts in it. If you thought about any kind of changes to your gear last year at the end of the season, now's the time to do it for sure. Make your changes, get out and practice with it, go up the tree in the yard.
Do anything with your camo or anything like that?
Not really, man, because honestly, I don't feel that camo kills deer.
That's a good point.
It doesn't.
But making sure you're comfortable and you have the right layers for things.
That's
kind
one
of
thing,
what
and
I'm talking about.
Personally,
that shit is expensive. Is there like a
Right.
best time to buy that stuff to get the most discount?
honestly, whatever your favorite brand of camo is, if you're seeing that they're having sales, that is the best time.
What do you wear for your undergarments?
All my stuff is First Light.
Okay.
I had a buddy I've got a buddy that's hardcore duck hunter, and again, he's not a camo guy, but like most of us, we like to be comfortable.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what you hunt. And merino wool base layers, it doesn't matter if it's First Light. There's a number of companies out there. Sitka makes stuff. I mean, you could probably get stuff from other manufacturers too, but merino wool is a big game changer.
Let's hold on one sec here.
Sure.
Which one's my which one says call? We got a caller.
Oh boy.
It's not a prank. Hey Jose, you're live on the Where to Hunt podcast. What's up?
How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
It's real good.
Super. Just watching some hunting on TV.
Nice, man. The last time you called us was September 10th of 2019, probably for Rut Club Radio is my guess.
Yeah, I think I called about the buck that I'd shot in 2018, I think, with my bow.
I do believe so.
Is it creepy that I know that date?
A little bit.
It's only because my software tells me so. That's how I knew you weren't a prankster.
Big brother.
Yeah.
What do you got, man? How you doing?
Good. Just gonna be setting out trail cameras and mineral here, hopefully in the next couple weeks, and get ready for October 1st is when it opens up here in Iowa. Bow season, anyway.
Rock on in Iowa. So yeah, we didn't even consider like what the private landowners have to do. Are you hunting public land or private land?
All private. I used to, back when I was like right out of high school, so like 2005, 2006, I did a little bit of public land hunting, but I had too many people walk. I'd get in there, take my time, get in there early, and never failed. Somebody right at daylight comes strolling through the timber, and I just got fed up with it and started knocking on doors, and was fortunate enough to get some pretty decent private ground that I've been hunting now for quite a while. So I got away from the public land, and don't get me wrong, there's phenomenal, awesome public land in Iowa. I've never had good luck with it, so I kind of just stay away from it.
No, all good, but it's cool to consider what the private land guys got to do to prep too. There's lots of homework you got to take care of in your punch. What does your punch list look like then?
Oh, not too bad. I got most of my honeydew list done. I got to prep some stands, move some stands, from the movement I seen last year. As far as trail cam pictures and stuff, I'm going to make some movements on my stands. But as far as that goes, a lot of my stands I just keep up all year, and then I just go check them, here in the next couple weeks or a month or so. And I usually change straps on my climbing sticks and on the stand itself, so make sure those are all good.
Yeah, those are key safety items, so it's good.
Yep. So, but yeah, turkey season was tough for me here in Iowa. I usually do pretty good, and this year was just tough. I could never get a bird within bow range. And then I went out, would be the second day of forest season here in Iowa, and I called 4 into 12 yards, and I was able to shoot it with my shotgun.
Beautiful.
Rock on. You got a favorite meal? We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
I usually just cut them up and marinate them in Italian dressing, and then deep fat fry them is the way I've always done them, I guess.
Sure. That's a classic.
I've grilled them, and yeah, I don't recommend grilling them. You really got to watch them or they'll dry up on you really quick.
Yeah, and you made jerky.
Nice.
So, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Give it to your dog for supper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, dry meat's not good. I have some venison brats I cooked, and I don't know if it was the way they were done or the way I cooked it. And according to outdoor taxidermy, it was the way it was done.
Really?
Less the way I cooked it, but I don't know. We'll see. That was before I had my new pellet grill. So.
Not enough fats in them.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm pretty stoked for bow season. I wasn't able to fill my bow tag here in Iowa last year, but I did pass up a lot of 4-year-olds that should be studs this year if they made it through. I got 4 bucks on my hit list. I know 2 of them made it for sure. The other 2 I don't. I never heard of them getting killed by the neighbors or anything, so I never did find their sheds, but I'm hoping they made it through. But
yeah, they could have wintered somewhere else and dropped their sheds and come back.
Yep, that's very true. So I'm hoping passing all the bucks I passed up last year pays off this year. So, but that's how it goes.
Cool.
Well, that's great, man. You got your work cut out for you here, laying mineral down. We're gonna switch gears into trail cams here. Are you doing anything with your trail cam strategy over the summer months?
What's that again?
You do anything with like do you have like any sort of, maybe not a specific one, but do you have like any strategy with your trail cams on private property?
I usually set mine up obviously over mineral. And then I got a couple food plots that I set them over. And, I'd probably set out between the 3 farms. I think I set out about, with mineral and food plots, I'd probably set out like 6, maybe 8 cameras. But then that'll all change once, once you start seeing the scrapes slowly popping up here and there, and then the rubs slowly popping up, then I pull all my cameras off my mineral usually about middle of August, and then middle of August, end of August, and then once those scrapes start popping up, and then all my cameras on all the farms start transferring over to scrapes and fence crossings, and just trying to start patterning those deer, where they're coming from, where they're going, the time of day, and so it's all fun and games every year.
Oh, yeah.
You think you got it figured out, but you don't.
Have you ever experimented with mock scrapes?
Yes, I actually do a lot of mock scrapes. I got some synthetic stuff I get from a company called Pop's Loose Moose. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of it.
I started trying it last year, and I had some really, really good luck. And I mean, I'm not trying to talk up any products or anything, because everybody uses whatever they want to use,
Right.
And I mean, you could just make a scrape with your foot, urinate in it, and deer are going to come to it because they're curious.
Yep, that's exactly what I've done.
Urine, once it breaks down, all urine smells like ammonia. You know what I mean? So if you urinate yourself in a scrape that you make, or one that's already there, the deer are going to come to it. For one, they're going to hit a scrape, and 2, they're curious because there's a new smell in it. So, but this Pop Loose Moose stuff that I used last year worked really, really good for me, and I had really, really good luck with it. So
We did an episode with Cook's Fatal Attraction. He talked about he's got some dominant bucks on his deer farm, and he's like, you introduce a dominant buck scent because this is an old dominant buck, literally. And he's like, then the deer will be like, well, where's this fucker at? And they,
right.
That episode was really interesting because we talked a lot about how to get inside of a deer's head, kind of, so to speak. And it was kind of cool to think of it that way. Like, oh man, I guess I didn't realize you could psychologically mess with a deer. Or you could do a young buck scent, and he's got that too. And that does a different impact, right? Like where they would feel like they are the dominant buck. But
right.
Fascinating how deep you can go with any of these things.
Yeah, I mean, any mature buck in their home core area, if you put out dominant urine, from another buck or whatever, you're imitating another buck.
Mm-hmm.
And if their home core area, I mean, they don't want that buck around. They don't want that buck to take over their turf, I guess you would say. And so it should bring them around more. It should have them hit that scrape more. Which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that buck to keep going from one routine and keep doing the same routine over and over, and hopefully he messes up while he's doing that routine and you capitalize on it.
Sure. Yeah, my experience has been, I have one scrape that I've been basically going out, pawing up the ground and peeing in it.
You gotta get all weird about peeing in it.
Well,
It got so awkward. Peeing in it.
Peeing in it. So, yeah, I'm peeing it once, and I usually do that probably right before season kicks off, middle of September here, and there's enough interest from younger deer that they come and hit it, and does do
and
too.
It just kind of starts to snowball.
It just snowballs. I let them do their thing. I set a camera on it. It stays there all year, and it's funny because it progresses from the 4-corns, the 6-pointers to they'll go away for a little bit, and then there'll be a doe group in there, and then they'll be licking on the branches and rubbing their face on it. And I've got it all on video.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all my camera sits in video mode, and then all of a sudden, mid to late October hits, and all of a sudden you see 8-pointers that are outside the ears, and you see the weird, 9-pointer or a weird non-typical, or you see something come in that's much bigger, and then you don't see little ones until December again.
Yeah, I'm out of here, guys.
But it's all nighttime footage.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of daytime footage on it, but it's also a small.
Well, it helps
property.
you pattern them, which is what Jose, what you had said. You're trying to pattern these deer. So
Yeah, and that's a
know.
property I don't even waste the time on. It's just fun to get the video footage. I don't have any killable deer there, so I don't hunt it. I stay on the public where the opportunities are better for me.
Right. Yeah, but it's just a game with the deer. I mean, you
Always is.
like I said, you think you got one patterned, and you think you got one patterned to where, oh yeah, I know he's going to come into this field tonight, or I know he's going to be in this, in this oak flat or whatever, and then you go in there, and he's nowhere to be found, or you think you got him patterned, and he just disappears for a week, and then you're like, well, what the hell am I doing wrong? What if you're trying to figure out what you need to do, and the next thing you know, boom, there he is again on your trail camera. And I mean, it's just cat and mouse with him every day, and that's all part of it, I guess.
Definitely, it's what makes it fun.
Yes, I agree.
Well, Jose, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate you calling into the show. Makes us feel
problem.
special.
I always try to watch you guys when it pops up on my phone. You guys are doing a live, so.
Oh yeah, every Tuesday, man. We ain't going nowhere.
We appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Well, hope you guys have a good season, and hopefully talk to you guys again later.
Yeah, call in anytime.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Sounds good. Have a good night, boys.
You too.
Adios.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So with that,
Trail cam strategy.
trail cam strategy, trail cam maintenance.
I was talking with the bearded nomad today.
Yeah,
Seth, I think.
Seth.
Yeah. I'm terrible with names, so no, no offense to anybody when I totally forget your name or your brand, I guess. One of his posts recently was like, I think he brought his wife out with him. He put her on his shoulders.
Yep.
Because he forgot his climbing sticks.
Yep.
It's an okay center move, by the way, Seth.
Attaboy.
But
Doing us proud.
that's definitely one strategy on public land that I think you have to do. And at some point, I wonder however many people are coming out with their climbing sticks anyways. Like,
Well, and that's something that
just
I often think about too. Is like, okay, you see everybody on social media doing this 1-2 sticks high. Okay, I've been doing that already.
mm-hmm.
So are you going to start seeing guys wander in the woods
With sticks?
in July and August with sticks on their back and a bag full of cameras? You might. It all depends.
I'm
I
just thinking
guess.
from a theft standpoint, it deters enough if those
It
folks
deters
aren't
enough.
prepared for it. If you can't get
Yeah.
up there, you can't get up there.
Right. But yeah, I took the extra precaution last year to monk around with putting a box on it,
Oh, you did? The cam lock box?
A cam lock box.
Yeah.
I put a cam lock box on one of my cameras, and I put the thicker Python lock through it because the cam lock box had had the bigger holes in it.
Did you drill it deeper or what?
No, I didn't have to.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have to at all. The holes were big enough through the camera and the cam lock box to run the big Python. Now, you can still break Pythons if you wanted to, but boy, it'd be a lot of jack around to climb the stick, get sticks, climb up there. On top of it, you're fighting all the deer flies and mosquitoes where I put them. And you're a few sticks high, and you got all that to contend with, making noise. And I guess if you want a camera bad enough, you don't care about how much noise you're making. But I don't make it comfortable. I don't make it easy for people to want to take them. They want to take them, they'll figure it out. They want to carry an 18-volt Sawzall out in the woods with them. That's their business. But getting up high, taking all the precautions, and if you don't care about that camera, I guess you won't take the precautions. The cam lock box is a pain in the rear. And then on top of that, my next level of security is I put a security code in my camera. You do get that camera, it's going to be pretty useless for you to mess with or use after, because you're going to have to try and figure out my numerical code to get it out and use
So
it.
if you do that, you can't even use it. It's not even that you can't get
it's
the data
useless.
off
You
it.
might as
so
well
it's
throw it in
just
the ditch.
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll get it home.
And
And
you're rocking the Exodus trail cams
I'm rocking
exclusively, or are you running some cheapos too?
I've got two other cheapos that work still. One's a wild game, and another one is a Moultrie. I like that Moultrie.
Those don't sound like cheapos.
They're still they're cheapo ones. They're,
Okay.
$60 ones. I think one might be $100 one. One my wife got me. It takes nice video. Has no sound to it. photos, it's tough because I don't know, the deer move around so much. I guess where I have them, I got to put them in a better environment where the deer don't move. But I don't have bait piles to put them in front of. So
your strategy, cam lock box, thicker cable, putting them up a couple sticks high.
yeah, and in places that are pretty ugly to get to on top of it. You're usually crossing water and
you got to go out to check yours. You don't got anything super fancy where it's feeding it to your phone or something
I don't
like
have
that.
anything
I know that's
like
a
that.
thing now.
Yeah, I mean, and I've thought about getting one, but there's other projects in the works here that maybe I won't be getting one. So wait and see kind of thing. It'd be cool because I have one place in particular I really like to put one, a cell cam, and put lithium batteries in it that'll last a long time, and just leave it soak. And don't touch it until end of November or something, just to kind of monitor the area and see what's back there and see what's going on.
You find those things kind of like crack? Like, if you invest in the stock market, you got to see what's going on every single day. Like, at what point is it too much? You're like,
when I first started using these things, it was another addiction. Like, just like anything else, you get into chasing big deer, you get to chasing muskies or whatever it is your passion is. It turns into one. It can.
I would be obsessive about checking them.
And I've had that burn me. I'll go out to check a camera, no bow in hand, in my street clothes, and there's an 8-pointer, a nice 8-pointer that I've been more than happy to shoot, staring right at me.
One part of you is like excited that you're seeing something. The other part's like, shit, now he's not going to come back.
Yeah, in fact, I think I've got it. Maybe on one of my old Facebook feeds that I took cell cam video of this buck. Checked my camera. He had a spiker with him. They ran up the ridge, and this was in October. It was like the first cold snap in October, and I could hear them grunting at each other, and the bigger buck chasing the little one off. I didn't see any does, but I was like 10 yards from that buck, and he couldn't quite make me out. He kept moving his head, looking around, but he couldn't make me out because I just stood still. Best camo is just shut up and stand still. So, yeah, literally caught, pants down, no bow in hand.
Damn.
Couldn't do anything about it. Shoot video.
And how many trail cams are you running?
I think I'm running only 6. So I kind of cover one area, and if I'm not seeing what I like, I'm going to pick up and move to another area, and I'm probably going to use that strategy even more to my advantage this year between that and doing a little more shining and a little more glassing. Some of the areas this year have more beans in them, so I might try to do more glassing on the bean fields.
Pattern run a little bit that way. Those are, getting chased a little bit more or whatever when you get closer to the rut.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I know we had Josh Profit on last year, early season maybe.
Okay.
He was on the Exodus Whitetail Cribs.
He runs a lot of cams.
He runs a shit ton.
Yep.
I mean,
it's where he bought
like 30 or something, right? Or something
it's
crazy.
more than that. It's more than that.
I would lose track of that.
Well, I think he's
probably got some systems.
Yeah, he's got a system.
But that's crazy. I'd be curious to hear what y'all are doing for trail cam strategy. In fact, I did post something on Instagram for some questions. Let me just see if there's any questions hanging out there for us that we didn't address yet. I don't want to leave anybody hanging. Let's see what we got here. Hang in there with us, folks. Okay, so there were some questions. How do you follow a specific buck from velvet into early October to kill him?
If I had a wall full of bucks, I'd probably be able to tell you.
That's a good question.
Honestly, like right now, everybody's getting excited about, let's go out and get our trail cameras up. Let's see if we can pattern one. I can tell you right now, all the fields that I've walked down the edges of, I haven't even seen any fawn tracks. I know fawns have been dropped.
Yep.
The crops aren't even up yet. I mean, the corn is barely 2-3 inches tall. The beans, they might be starting to leaf a little bit. Right now is really not the time to get too overly excited. I mean, right now you could almost even go out and find some of the old rubs from last year. There's, depending on where in the country you are, but like further north, you could probably go out and still do some scouting and find rubs and maybe even the remnants of scrapes on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's not full green up. I mean, here we're definitely full green up, but things aren't quite that far along yet. So I wouldn't get too excited. This is just me and my little bit of experience. I wouldn't get too excited about going, yep, we're going to pattern this buck. Okay, you can throw cameras out. And if you got a big hunk of private land that's unpressured and nobody's messing with it, that may apply. And I'm not trying to come off as holier than thou.
No, man.
Kind of.
You're not that kind of guy. I think we all know that.
But if you have that ability, great. Go out and do what Jose is going to do. Set your mineral licks. Set your water holes. If you got little water holes out there, set your cameras on them. Mock scrapes. Set all that stuff. Get your cameras on them. That's how you're going to probably be able to pattern a deer.
Trying to get some inventory.
Yeah.
What's
You're talking, like here we're swamp farm country. I call it swamp and farm country because we got swamps and we got farm country all around. The deer are in them swamps, and as soon as everything comes up, the corn, the beans, guess what? Their bedding areas just expanded 100%. They'll bed on the edges of cornfields and fence lines because they got all that cover. They can bed anywhere and stay disappeared and come out and graze whenever they want. They can graze on everything around them while they're laying, keeping cool out of the sun. So right now, not quite the time. I like to set my stuff probably end of July. That's when you start seeing deer move around a little more, I think.
You just got to spray the shit out of yourself with bug spray.
Yeah, or just be brave. Either way.
Brave, stupid.
Yeah.
Whatever. Effort and time versus results and intel gained. Worth it. Where do you choose to spend your time? Where do you choose to spend your sweat equity based on the intel that you have? Where are you making a decision to, this is a spot that I'm going to commit to versus, just sweating and sweating and sweating.
Right.
Like, I'm the sweater. I'll just keep going like a dipshit because I'm like, well, if I were deer, this looks nice.
Right.
I don't know how to take in some intel, right? What intel are you looking for to decide on a property?
To decide on a property?
Like a public land. You talked about like,
yeah, well, a lot of it really hinges upon me scouting from the end of the season. So January, February, March. That's when you're going to get your best intel as to what happened last October, November.
And what are you looking for to decide that's
rubs
good?
And scrapes,
right.
Heights of rubs.
In high concentration or?
You'll see a rub line usually, but not all big deer rub. Follow some of these bigger buck killers if you really want to get more involved with that or get more intel on that. Those guys are going to give you better information than what I'm going to give you. But from what I'm seeing, look for the rubs, look for the scrapes, find the heavily used trails, follow them back to the bedding, but do it in the off season. Once it's green up, there could be a hell of a trail underneath all that green stuff. You can see it. I mean, I know where some of the trails are in my area.
Yeah, you can see
and I go and look at them different times
There's
a
just
year.
not much you can get from that right now.
Not
short
really.
Of a big track.
Yeah, short of a big track.
Or a big turd.
Well, and even that's questionable. Mm-hmm. But if you can get out and do your early season scouting first, find those heavily used trails, and then go back and visit them like right now. It's not a bad thing to do. And see, because now that we've got some green up, some of the stuff that's in there is 3 feet tall. Mm-hmm. You're going to see how little use it gets, or you're going to realize it is heavily used. It's just how it looks when you get that much green up. You'll see a narrow little path through it. You'll go, well, geez, back in October, November, I mean, this was like a highway through here. Most of these weeds were down. Well, yeah, because the frost had killed them. They laid down, and I bet if you kind of move some of those weeds away, you're going to look and say, oh, yeah, this is a pretty heavily used area, or you'll be able to see hoof prints. Or maybe because of crop rotation in our area here.
Yep.
That
changes.
Yeah,
right.
it changes.
You got to be cognizant of that.
Somebody's hay field is hot right now. They've had a good crop of hay. We've had good hay this year because of the cool spring. Alfalfa likes cool springs. So the farmers are going to be doing real good. with hay. Well, if you know there's an alfalfa field somewhere on the other side of this public ground you're hunting, or whatever ground, that movement's going to deviate over to there.
It makes sense.
You know, and when the beans get up to prime height, about a foot tall, and they can go off and browse on them, that'll be the next hot food source.
Right.
So it's follow their stomach.
Acorns drop and
Acorns drop, then they're back out on them oak ridges again.
So Scott Clark just asked, no relation, by the way, he's got an E at the end of his last name, but do you ever feel trail cameras can give you false hope? They end up changing a ghost. Oh, do you?
Yes.
Chasing a ghost because, one or two pictures. I've got to imagine, man. Like, how do you not fall victim to that? Like, good luck.
I've had that happen.
You see something giant on there, you're getting.
Well, I've shown you pictures of some of the one 16-point non-typical. How the hell are you going to not want to even non-typical? Yeah, from in 2017, and then 2018, the neighbor shot him. But it was a full year before he came back, at least on my camera. He could have been on the other side of the ridge. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was like, wow, this buck was here 2 days before opener. I should have been here opener. Maybe he was around. Mm-hmm. Don't know. I had 2 cameras on that property, but never saw him. He made the rounds. He did his thing. And
that was it.
Nobody shot him. And then all of a sudden he came back next November, trolling through. I got him on the camera, and 2 hours later, after I got him on the camera, the neighbor got him with his crossbow. 50-yard shot. Yeah, dropped him, and awesome buck. He wasn't 16 points anymore. I think he was only 14.
Oh, yeah.
Real bad. Major decline. But he was a 7.5-year-old deer, so he, and then talking to the neighbor, some of the other neighbors down the road had him on camera. Yeah. So yeah, you can chase a ghost. If you really put your heart into it.
But if you see something like that, you almost feel like you have to take some risk to get out.
It was a monster deer. The right word, what it scored, don't know. Don't care. It was bigger than anything I've seen.
Yep.
Massive.
Yeah, I'd be happy with it on your wall. That's about it.
Yeah.
Happy on your grill.
Yep.
Last question, and we'll call it a night, guys, gals. What's your number one rule for stand placement? I'll tell you what my number one rule is. Look up the frickin' tree and figure out, so there's 2 things. One, depending if you're left-handed or right-handed, make sure where you're going to be drawing back at is going to make sense with where you think the deer are going to come from based on whatever the variables are, where they're bedding, the wind, etc. Right? And then 2, if you look up that tree from the base, are you going to be haunched forward, backward? Like, is there going to be a knot in your back? Like, think of those things and where you're going to be drawing and aiming at, based on where you think the deer are going to come from. That's too many times as a dipshit young hunter who just throw it up there and then be like, oh no, this is all wrong. And by the time I get it set, it's set. It's dark and jackassing around all morning and whatever. That's my advice. I don't know what advice you have.
That's good advice, because even when you've just started mobile hunting, going out and hanging and hunting and taking it down and going somewhere else, after you're done with that particular tree, or maybe you hunt it again that night or something. But just assessing it from the base at the ground level, because things are different once you're up there. So look at it, make sure you can
shooting lanes, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, having some shooting lanes are pretty important too. But even just getting the stand in there, and being able to stand up and draw your bow, because it's easy to go, yep, I know I can throw a stand in that tree. Well, hell, you can put any stand in that tree. But when you're up in it, can you do what you need to do? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to have to make a lot of noise to clear things and move things around to make it comfortable? Mm-hmm. So assessing it is probably the biggest thing. That seems
like a green thing, but it's something that when you're in the woods or you're in the moment, you just might overlook it, and that's a subtle thing that can make a difference. At least for the newer hunters, that's what I think about. Even as maybe a novice now, at least I have some experience in my belt, if nothing else. But those are some rookie mistakes that I've made. That if anything, the worst case is discomfort.
Yeah, discomfort or the lack of the ability to make a shot because you can't pull your bow back because you're bumping a limb with your elbow.
Yep. But there's other fun things like, I don't know, can you hang your bow somewhere? Right? Yeah. You got some, and there's a lot of things you can put on a tree as an attachment. Or whatever, but,
right. I think too, knowing where the deer are coming from, and I know some people will just go out and,
This looks great.
yeah, this looks good. Just throw it up there. Well, then you got lucky.
Or you're like, this spot's good because this tree is good, but that doesn't mean it's a good spot.
Right.
Like there might not be a good tree anywhere near your spot. We're talking about swamp
No.
hunting a little bit. Like you might have to put the thing at bucket's height.
Yep.
You know,
And I've done that too. 4, 5
the only
feet
tree in the
off
whole
ground.
freaking swamp, but it's high ground, so you got to work.
I've done
with it.
that and still had deer pick me off.
Bastards.
I get up there, I pull my bow up, and just as I get ready to sit down on the seat, I hear one blow.
Yep.
And I look and I see a tail bouncing off.
Yeah.
I had it set too high. So I think what it boils down to, no matter what time of year, getting your scouting in, and I'm going to beat this horse to death. Scouting is going to help you. Because while you're scouting, not only are you looking for deer sign, but you're going to be looking for the right trees to put your stand in and figure
People
out.
sign too. Who
People
else has
sign
been back
too.
there? Yep.
That's another thing, but the right trees and know what height to set at. You don't have to be 30 feet up. That's another crazy thing you see on all the forums is guys
Because
have a certain sight.
scent
Yeah,
and
they have a certain, and that plays into it too.
Mhm.
You know, you get a thermal that pulls your scent down, but if you're 2 feet higher, that scent just continues to push off. There's a lot of variables. If you sit and overthink it too much, then you just kind of screwed yourself. You just made it so you don't want, you're almost finding excuses to not go sit it. But first time sits, I do believe, are your best sits. And I'm not trying to steal that from anybody, but that's been my experience. I've had my best luck going in.
look at the first time sit we had on the
Look at all the
conservancy
deer
property.
we saw deer.
You were like,
I was close.
you were very close. And that was both of our first.
I'd never
time sit
seen
on
that property
at
before. I
at
just
that
went in
slice
there
of
and-
the property.
Yeah.
We evaluated as much as we could via the map. I told you the intel that I had based on hunting the property
We went
one other
in.
time before, and that was it,
We
right?
came close. You could have shot a doe. I saw a doe and was real close on a buck. Never could quite make him out antler wise, but he was there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just winds were swirling or whatever it was. So it's just a matter of do your scouting. You're not just scouting for deer sign. You're scouting for a good spot for you to sit. Go in there with all the confidence in the world. Set your stand and act like you're going to kill one out there.
There we go. It's a good way to wrap it up. Everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it, or whenever the hell you listen to this.
We appreciate it very much.
Your car
Thank you.
ride, your dog walk, your gym, time, whatever. Yeah.
When
Thanks,
you're-
everybody.
When you're tweeting.
Have a good night. We're going to end the live feed.
Have a
We'll
good night.
catch you later.